Alright, so this is the final update on the rhubarb. I figured I'd show it to you before I actually do anything, and then again I'm going to stitch all the rhubarb videos together as one, and that way you get to watch it in one video. So we're at the stage where we're going to harvest the seeds. I would imagine we're as far as we can go with the seeds. Now, I didn't get very many seeds, but what I did get is a few, and there were more than that on here. There were actually a few more areas, but I believe they fell off already, which I got to be really careful and pick off all the remainder that are left on there. So there's enough on here for me to get enough seed off of that for me to start growing rhubarb fresh from my own seeds that I harvested from my own rhubarb. And in that way, we can try growing rhubarb right from my own seed and see if it's possible to do. So we'll harvest those seeds. I'll do that off camera, and I'll show you how much seed I harvest. But what I wanted to show you is this down here. So the rhubarb did something interesting. Now, a lot of people were saying to me, no, cut the stem down, it's going to die, it's not going to do anything, it'll come, blah, blah, blah. So I heard a lot of different things, and I appreciate everybody's comments. They're all great. I like to hear the input of everybody. There's no right or wrong. But there are things that you should know and shouldn't know. So what happens is, and this is something I'm figuring out and learning now myself, what happens is when a rhubarb goes into flower like this, the plant also goes into I guess it's genetic split somewhere along the line or something to that effect. And so the genetics split off, and so what's happened is, if you look down here, you can see the rhubarb is now growing more rhubarbs fresh off its own tuber while this piece dies off. So for everybody's telling me that if you let it go to flower, it's just going to sit there, you're not going to get any rhubarb out of it. Yeah and no, because over here you can see I got all these other rhubarbs that came up from the mother root, and I did a little research on it, and what they suggest you do is to dig it up, and then they call it splitting the root. You have to separate these little babies from the mother, and it's like a clone, and so you split it. But you don't have to do that. You can just leave it this way and just let it grow like bulk. It'll grow itself out. Eventually this whole stem part over here will die. This will take over for what this was. That's what's going to happen. That part will die and rot off, and these little rhubarbs here will be big and strong enough and create their own roots, and there'll be multiple plants. So that's what's going to end up happening. But I wanted to show you that because a lot of people are a little confused on what exactly happens with rhubarb when it does what it just did here. Look at this thing. I mean, this is absolutely enormous here. This is a very big flowering plant. Very interesting, very fascinating little, just a fascinating little experience to go through if you've never done a rhubarb flower before. At least now you know. And you can see the bottom over here, the stalk is absolutely huge. It's got to be 1.5 inches in diameter. And I'm sure they get bigger than that if this plant was much bigger. I mean, this is only its second year growing, so it's probably going to get much bigger than that if you let them get really big. But definitely worth fun. It was a fun little botanical experiment. I'm going to cut this down over here, and I'll show you what it looks like once I cut it down. Okay, so I cut it down, and I just wanted to show you what the inside of it looks like. I figured this would be interesting for those who are following this vlog on the rhubarb and the seeding and all that stuff. I figured this would be interesting to you if you've been following it. As you can see, I cut it, and all it is hollow in the middle. It's not really thick at all. It's like a hollow pipe in there. So, interesting as that is, it's hollow. There's really nothing to it. It's just the life is all out there on the outside of the stem. It's like a tree. Like all the life is out here, and all this on the inside, I guess, is dead. But the whole thing is hollow. So, interesting. Oh, I got a weed growing in there or something. Oh no, I pulled it off and stripped. But we're gonna cut. I'm gonna take this one leaf off here, which is already off, and we're gonna do a taste test on this rhubarb and see what it tastes like. Now, I don't know if the rhubarb is ready to be eaten. I don't know if you're supposed to wait until it turns red when you eat it, But we'll take a little bite off of that. I may not swallow it if I feel uncomfortable with it, knowing that, you know, maybe it's not ready yet and it could be poisonous, because I know rhubarb is poisonous to some degree. But we'll do a little taste test on it. As you can see, it's a green. It's green. It's not red yet. But we'll take a bite right out of that and see what it tastes like. Well, I guess it's probably didn't develop correctly as far as what the flavor should go. But the taste of it sort of tastes like a celery. That it's very tangy. It's got like a lemony type of flavor to it. Very lemony flavor. I'm not going to eat. You can't eat the leaves on it. The only thing you could eat is the stem. But it's got a very lemony type of flavor. I don't think that this thing is developed correctly because I let it flower. But so far in the flowering stage, if you taste the fronds that are coming off, they got a very lemony flavor. So as long as it's edible, I would say you're okay with it. But again, I don't know. I didn't actually eat it. I swallowed some of the saliva with it. So if I don't make any more videos after you see this, then that probably means I didn't make it. But I don't think that's the case. But anyway, let me show you the bottom of this thing and give you an idea what it looks like now. This looks just like bamboo. It looks just like bamboo. It's hollow the same way as bamboo is. You can make bamboo pipes, blowguns. You can make smoking pipes out of this if you wanted to, probably. The whole tube is hollow all the way down to the end. So what we'll do is we'll let that dry out. And then we'll save that tube and see if we can do something with it. All right, so that's it. That's your final update on the rhubarb. Maybe I'll give you a little update towards the end of the year if these get big enough and I get nice red sweet stems out of it, and hopefully not bitter. I get nice sweet stems. We'll do a harvest and a taste test on the Victoria rhubarb. All right? Like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.